Well, folks, good morning. Toby coming at you. Um, so this is my first full day back to work after the medical stuff going on. First clearance day for work. I sleep was not well. I didn't get to sleep till about 1 or 2 in the morning last night. So we'll see how this day goes. I'm not going to record in the building, but I'll probably record if I can think of it after I get out of work this afternoon, and I'll give you an update. So let's go. So you're seeing me here because I'm sitting here, and there was in the follow-on video the afternoon. You can tell, obviously, I did not do a leaving work video, closing that day out. So this is today. We're looking at Sunday. I think it's Sunday, March 23rd. So this is the beginning of my second week back to work. Last week took some good adjustments. So some key things that I want to point out about this past week was, as you saw just a second ago, it was my first physical week back to work, number one. Number two, last Wednesday, I began the cardiac rehabilitation, and that is now going to be, Wednesday was for orientation, and it's going to be 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I chose to do 6 a.m. because I like the early rise, and gets it done and gets it in the way, gets the day started off right for me. So this last Friday was my first actual day of cardiac therapy. So I'm going to cover that. I want to talk about range of motion, and again, this is going to be more focused on people who are going through this stuff, have never done it before. Just trying to express to you what I'm experiencing and going through. Maybe it'll help you. If it does, great. That's my hope. Everybody else, this is updates for you, but this also shows the progress. So I want to point out range of motion. I didn't just say that. So when I'm referring to range of motion, I'm talking about primarily the upper body stuff, right? So, for example, I'm still feeling discomfort in the sternum area, and that is primarily when doing anything involving the arms. So, for example, doing hygiene, right, in the shower. I don't know about anybody else, but one of the ranges of motion that I do with a washcloth and soap is I'll come back here and I will scrub my arm and the back shoulder. And sometimes, to get deeper into the clean, I will put my hand here, and this goes for both sides, but I'll put my hand here and I'll push my arm further back so I can get further back on the top of my shoulder blade, right? Well, I feel that push right here in my sternum. It's more pronounced actually when I go from this side, but again, that's a range of motion thing. So if you are experiencing this, that's not a dangerous thing. That's not a bad thing. It's not that something's going wrong. That's just part of your body saying, hey, this part is still healing. It's not a danger. I do that routine every morning in the shower, and it is getting less and less and less painful. So, or less and less just uncomfortable. So that's showing it is healing. So, but it's still there. Again, range of motion would also be when I'm driving. So initially, if I'm driving, I'm cleared to drive. I drove every day to work this week from Tuesday to Friday, and I drove to both my physical therapies. The range of motion of steering isn't terrible. It's just there. It's like you feel it. But again, it is also becoming less pronounced, I guess I'd say the word might be to use. But yeah, so like shutting the door, my vehicle door, pushing doors open that have the automatic or the safe close control, whatever they call it, the little hinges that close the air compressors on the top, or the gas shocks, that like a bathroom door or something in a business building or something. When you push those open, you're feeling a slight bit of resistance. So sometimes I'll push with my elbow. I feel that a little bit. It's the micro feels in everything that I'm doing. Even so much as like if you press some doors you have in some buildings, you'll have a handicap button you can press that will open the door automatically. there is actually some discomfort in pressing that button. Not so much because of, pressing, but because where you are in the range of motion with your arm, this. These are things we don't think about on a regular basis when we are completely whole and healed and fully functional and fully capable. You don't think about how the range of motion of where you are applying pressure to an object with your hand, whether it's a doorknob, a door handle for a vehicle, or it's a push button to open a door, or something as simple as pushing a grocery bag across a countertop or moving it into a grocery cart. I mean, these little things, how you pick that up, how far out you extend your arms, where you bring them in close to your body, twisting, all these things are ranges of motion that factor in on different parts of our bodies, and we don't think about that. It's crazy to me. It has been highlighted more, obviously since my surgery. But again, range of motion is getting better. But if you are in my situation, if you're recovering from it, especially if you're just getting past it just now, you're not going to want to move anything. And it's better that you don't. Listen to the doctors, listen to the therapists, listen to the nurses. If they tell you you're not supposed to be doing that stuff yet, don't do it. I remember laying in bed at the hospital trying to reach over for something as simple as grabbing a pillow, and that hurt. Just a pillow. So I got to a point where I figured things out. You're going to get things figured out comfort-wise, but let people help you. Let that staff, let that nursing staff, those physical therapists, those doctors, they're there to guide you and advise you. Let them do it. Listen to them. Do what they tell you, because that's only going to help you heal faster, recover faster, heal right. You don't want to heal in the wrong way and then go through some other type of physical therapies or procedures that you have to do to correct something. So driving was another piece. Like I said, I'm not going to say that was painful. As I said, there is some discomfort there, and I was amazed this past week. It really demonstrated to me you have to get that back, so to speak. It's like physical therapy. You have to. I'm glad that I'm starting back simply with driving to and from work, right? Or driving to and from church, whatever the case might be, because when you are like this, even if you're not healing from something, driving from Kentucky to Florida or Kentucky to Sturgis or Kentucky to anywhere on a vacation, or on a weekend trip, whatever you want to call it, hundreds of miles, even when you're doing that and you're in complete health, you want to stop after a full gas tank empties out, or even half a tank after a couple hours of driving, because you're tired. You get cramped, you get all that. So you don't even think that now that's compounded by a healing surgery or procedure or wound, whatever it is. So driving to and from work, I didn't realize first couple of days that wore me out. I was tired, and I was like, why am I so tired? Well, I understand. It's because I'm having to rebuild up my tolerance, my stamina level for that kind of stuff. So it's not just, I do walk. I've been doing, light walking around the neighborhood and stuff, just to kind of get better in shape and keeping the exercise up and the stamina. But keeping your arms like this on a steering wheel for an extended period of time, and having to turn and keep an eye on traffic and mental, and keeping your foot on the gas pedals and brake and all that, with this discomfort or with this surgery, this procedure healing, along with a motorcycle, when I start riding that, not yet, those things are going to come into play, and you have to be able to manage that stuff. And it's like, if you're a biker, this, whether you wear riding glasses, whether you wear a helmet, whether you have a windscreen, whether you have heated grips or not, certain things on that bike as you ride in different types of weather impact you. Those little pieces add up and can wear you down faster. Same concept goes in a vehicle. With this, that's something that wears me down faster. I am not up to the level of I'm not at 100% yet. So I'll get there. I'll get there. And the last thing I really want to cover, I was going to cover medication details. I'm not going to this week for this video. If you all want to know the medication specifically that I'm prescribed, let me know. I'll probably put it in the next video, because just for whatever reason, but it's just because we're all of different blood types, body types, physiques, physiological, psychological, whatevers, and our doctors, if you're going through some kind of a open heart surgery, triple bypass, strokes, whatever, for the most part, we're probably going to, I would assume, and this is me saying this with a Holiday Inn Express education, okay, so I would expect that our prescriptions are probably not going to be too different, but they might be completely different because of blood types, immunities, allergies, whatever the case might be. So I've got specific medications I'm taking to prevent blood clots, for cholesterol, for high blood pressure, a few other things. So I'll cover those if you're interested in knowing them without going into the milligrams and dosages and all that stuff. And I can say what each one of them is about. I'm not doing it this week. I don't want this to be an extremely long video. The last thing I wanted to cover was, and this is also for those who are, again, you'll go through this process as well, more than likely. In this case, I would assume that cardiac rehabilitation, from state to state, from county to county, from location to location, probably going to be very similar in its core, right, in the structure of how it's built. So on Wednesday, when I went to my orientation, they sat down with me, double-checked all my personal information, checked to make sure, medication stuff, whatever, asked if I had any allergies, if I was, that kind of thing. And then they explain what they do is they hook up a heart rate monitor that's clipped to my clothing, and they will put a sensor here right below each of my collarbones, and then they'll put one down here under my rib cage here. And then I walked for 6 minutes around a little indoor track, and I'm going to put the picture over top of me here so you can see it, and I'll put an arrow that points to the track. It's a really, really small indoor track. Not even, I would bet if the entire track circle was maybe 50 feet around. I ended up walking like 11 or 12 laps on it, but their intent was to get my heart rate up, check it, and then check the oxygenation of my blood. And that was kind of their baseline set, right, for the next physical therapies, or for the next rehabilitation visits. And then after that, they told me that when I come in each day, I will put on the heart rate monitor piece myself, and they will take my weight and they will check the heart rate first, and then I can kick off and start the machines. They have 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there were 5 different types of cardio machines. There was like a treadmill. There was a couple of different, or 3 different versions of sit-down bicycle elliptical type deals. And then there was another one it was the kind that you are step walk elliptical with hand range and range of motion, hand rowing type of deal, and I don't know what they're called. But the key factors on this is, for last Friday, I did these 4 machines, and I'll put them up here as I'm talking about them. I did a sit down that was just pumping my legs. I did a bicycle version over by the window, and then I did another. Was that a sit down or stand? I can't even remember now. I think that was a sit down. It was a raised sit down, and then the last one was the treadmill, just the walking treadmill. And they told me I could do any of the 4, or I could repeat one and do 2. Do 3 different ones and just repeat one, doing one of them twice. They said that the ones that require arm strength and movement, Even if the machine I currently am using has it, I'm not to mess with the arm piece. After March 31st, so after this coming Friday, so this week right here, this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'll continue doing the leg cardio stuff, and then after Friday, I think the 31st is Saturday or Sunday of next weekend, I believe. So that Monday, that April 1st, April Fool's, that April 1st, I believe, is when they said I will start with incorporating arm strength building, basically chest, upper body, into my rehabilitation. And I'll capture some of that too as the week goes, as it progresses. But it's self-paced, and what each one is like I said, you heard me say a second ago, I do 4 different machines, and I start every one, and this is for those of you who might be going through this, okay? I started with, they said we're starting out, everybody starts out at what they call Step 2 or Met 2, I can't remember which one it was, but it's everybody is going to be at different physical fitness and healing levels, right? So they said they told me this may feel like nothing to you. It may have no impact on you whatsoever when you go through 6 minutes of this. They said, be patient with us. We're going to increase the step each week or each session for the most part, or as we can, and help you get stronger, and they will get more resistance. You will gain more fatigue. You will get tired. We will challenge you as we get going further. So these sessions are supposed to be per my prescribed referral from the VA and everything. It's supposed to be 10 to 12 weeks, so 2 to 3 sessions per week. And they actually have me through like the 31st of August. So, I mean, I don't know if that's 10 to 12 weeks. I think it might be, but you're talking, half of March. So April, May, June, July, August. So you're talking 5. That's more in the neighborhood of 20 weeks, right? So it may not be that long, but they said after the 10 to 12 week mark, each person who goes through this has the option, after they've reached 10 weeks, I think she said, has the option to stop the routine. They can consider themselves graduated or completed the program and continue on with life, or continue the course, whichever one they want to do. Of course, I've done 1 week, so technically 1 week of 1 day of it. So this will be my first full week of it this coming week. And that's the 24th, the 26th, and the 28th will be my first week of 3 full sessions. So, again, it's only an hour long from 6 to 7, 4 machines, 6 minutes each, and it's funny because I'll try to take pictures this week while I'm mid-workout, but I just thought it was funny because I'm sitting there pedaling for each one and doing each of the workouts, and what standard do you give yourself while you're just sitting there pedaling, because you're pedaling endlessly, right, for 6 minutes. So it's like the example I gave my wife when we were walking. I said, if you can imagine, like in Seabiscuit, the movie Seabiscuit, when the horse was coming back for his first race after being injured, the rider Red was telling the buddy that was riding for him, he said, let him see that other horse come into his peripheral and watch him open up a whole nother gear, right? And it's that competition. We are ingrained with it. You put somebody next to you that's trying to run, you're like, oh no, you ain't beating me, that kind of thing. So when I was doing the 4 exercises, I was like looking at the display versus how much time I had left, and I was okay, well, let me see if I can reach a mile in distance. And I did, but it required me to self-push to increase the speed and all that kind of stuff. I didn't overdo it. It was just, I said, hey, I'm going to get to a mile distance on all of the pedaling machines. The treadmill was nowhere close. I think I did a quarter of a mile because of its pace and all that. You're not bicycling, you're walking. So, but yeah, like I say, it's self-paced, but everybody's going to be in a different level of condition. So don't push yourself just because I said I did a mile on each of those machines. If they increase a step next week, I may be thinking, nope, ain't going to happen this week. Let's just keep pushing ourselves to get better, right? So whatever you feel is the best for you to do when you're going through your recovery, listen to your doctors, listen to those therapists, listen to the nurses, listen to your family. You know, I've had numerous friends and family telling me, take your time, listen to your body, don't force anything. And if you live alone, friends, family, listen to all of them. Try to reach out. I promise you there will be people there to help. I promise. If there's not, then there's something wrong with this world in general for just helping anybody in general. I don't really have much else to say. Again, I will continue to say this for any and every video that I do for this. Thank you to everybody for the encouragement, the texts, the calls, the messages on social media. You guys have been putting some great comments down below in these videos on YouTube, and I appreciate all of them. I use them I think about every one of them. And since this has happened, I've already had a couple of friends tell me that they've had family that have ended up going through a surprise bypass as well. You don't realize number one, how fragile we are as human beings, but number two, I'm starting to see that stuff like a triple bypass and our bodies aren't going to call us ahead of time and say, hey, we're going to have this catastrophic event happen to your body on Thursday of next week. It just happens. I mean, it could be while you're out riding your lawnmower. It could be when you're walking to the door of your house from your car when you come home from work. Something as simple as that. And the next thing you know, you black out, and the next thing you know, you're waking up in a hospital bed and the doctors are explaining what happened. Folks, do not take your health for granted. I can't say that enough. I wish that I had realized this before, but we never do we? We always take it for granted. Tomorrow's not a promise. The next hour in our lives is not a promise. You need to get your body straight, your mind straight, and your spirit right. Make sure you're... God bless you all. I went down a bit of a rabbit hole there, and I apologize. It just shows the urgency of the situation. I'll digress a little bit and back off because it's a passion, and I'm realizing this more and more every day. I've been exhausted this week because this is the first week and starting the second week in 5 years that I have been going to work every day of the week and not teleworking. We take that for granted. I don't mind it. I love going to work like that, and I don't mean it like I love working. I mean, I was working in a building before the pandemic, and they've ordered us all back. I don't care either way. It's just you get complacent, you get used to being at home in an environment you completely control and having a schedule you completely control, and now you're not. So that the driving, all these things factor in, especially on people who, like me, who have gone through a serious medical procedure in the last month and a half. So if I didn't say it before, February 8th again was my surgery, and I believe I'm at today marks 6 or 7 weeks since my surgery. Forgive me, you have to count. I'll probably put a calendar here and just show in front of me, boom, 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 boom. Here's the date of the weeks past and what week we're on. So I'll put something up there to say, hey, here's what week we're on. So, yeah, we're getting there, and it is feeling better. My sleep I am getting a little bit better sleep. It's still a challenge a little bit, but not so much as it was 2 to 3 weeks ago. So I will leave it at that. I think I've talked enough. I cannot wait to do my first ride video again, y'all, or just get on the bike again, period. But anyway, having said that, y'all stay safe. God bless y'all. I love you. Thank you again so much for all the comments, all the support, both in person and virtual, by social media, texting, whatever. Thank you again so much. Until the next video, y'all be safe. God bless you.